A story of faith, fear, fire, and God's whisper. In a land torn between faith and fear, where truth was slowly being forgotten and idols had begun to replace the living God, one man appeared. He was not a king, not a warrior, not even well known. He was a prophet. His name was Elijah. With no grand introduction and no royal background, Elijah walked straight into the palace of King Ahab, the most powerful ruler in Israel, and spoke words that shook the nation.
As the Lord God of Israel lives, before whom I stand, there shall be neither dew nor rain these years except by my word.
And then Elijah disappeared. The sky closed, rain stopped falling, rivers dried up, fields cracked under the sun. Israel suffered, not by accident, but because its king had turned his heart away from God and led the people to worship Baal, a false god of rain and fertility. Yet Elijah was not forgotten. God led him to a hidden place near the brook of Cherith. There was no city, no supplies, no certainty, only a promise. And then something unbelievable happened. Every morning and every evening, ravens came. Wild birds, unclean birds. They brought him bread and meat. While the world starved, God fed his servant in the wilderness. Because when God calls you, he also sustains you, even in impossible ways. But eventually, the brook dried up, and Elijah learned a hard truth. God's provision often changes form, but it never fails. God sent him next to Zarephath, to a poor widow living on the edge of survival. When Elijah found her, she was gathering sticks, preparing one final meal. She told him,
I have only a handful of flour and a little oil. After we eat, my son and I will die.
Then Elijah said something shocking.
Do not be afraid. First make a small loaf for me, and then for yourself and your son.
It was not cruelty, it was a test of faith. The widow obeyed. From that day on, the jar of flour did not run out, and the jug of oil never ran dry. Day after day, meal after meal, because obedience unlocks miracles. But then tragedy struck. Her son became sick and stopped breathing. Grief and anger poured from the woman's heart. Elijah carried the child to the upper room, laid him on the bed, and cried out to God with tears and desperation. And God heard. Life returned to the child. Elijah carried him back to his mother, alive, and she said,
Now I know that you are a man of God, and that the word of the Lord from your mouth is truth.
3 years passed. Then God told Elijah, Go present yourself to Ahab. The nation gathered on Mount Carmel. 450 prophets of Baal, 400 prophets of Asherah, and one man, Elijah. He stood before the people and asked,
How long will you waver between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him, but if Baal is God, follow him.
There was silence. Elijah proposed a challenge. 2 altars, 2 sacrifices.
Build 2 altars, one for Baal, one for Baal.
The God who answers by fire is the true God.
The prophets of Baal went first. They shouted, they danced, they cried, they cut themselves, from morning until evening. But there was no voice, no fire, no response. Elijah even mocked them.
Shout louder! Perhaps your God is sleeping!
Then it was Elijah's turn. He rebuilt the broken altar of the Lord, placed the sacrifice upon it, and did something unthinkable. He poured water over it, once, twice, 3 times. The altar was soaked, the trench overflowed. Then Elijah prayed, not loudly, not dramatically.
Lord, let it be known today that you are God in Israel.
And suddenly fire fell from heaven. It consumed the sacrifice, the wood, the stones, the soil, even the water. The people fell on their faces and cried, "The Lord, He is God! The Lord, He is God!" Soon after, rain returned, the drought ended, victory had come. But then a message arrived. Queen Jezebel sent word, "May the gods deal with me, be it ever so severely, if by this time tomorrow I do not make your life like one of them." And Elijah, the man who called down fire from heaven, ran in fear. He fled into the wilderness, sat under a broom tree, and prayed,
I have had enough, Lord. Take my life.
Yes, even great prophets feel fear. Even faithful servants grow exhausted. Even strong believers feel broken. God did not scold Elijah. He fed him. He let him rest. Then he called him to Mount Horeb. There, Elijah stood before the Lord. A powerful wind tore the mountains apart, but God was not in the wind. An earthquake shook the ground, but God was not in the earthquake. Fire passed by, but God was not in the fire. And then came a gentle whisper, a still, small voice. That was where God was. God reminded Elijah, "You are not alone. I still have people who are faithful to me." Sometimes God moves in fire, sometimes through miracles, and sometimes in silence. Years later, Elijah walked with his disciple Elisha. Suddenly, a chariot of fire appeared, and Elijah was taken up to heaven in a whirlwind. He did not taste death, but his mission did not end. His faith, his courage, his obedience live on as a reminder that God uses ordinary people to do extraordinary things when they trust Him completely. The story of Elijah is not just history, it is a message. When you feel alone, God is with you. When resources fail, God provides. When fear overwhelms, God restores. When the world is loud, God may whisper. The question is not whether God still speaks. The question is, are we listening?
Do not forget to like, share this video, and don't forget to subscribe. Just Stories. We bring you the best stories of all time.